The great city of Varan Prime, floating at the heart of Varnock 7 Station, was alive with lights. Hundreds of species from every corner of the universe had gathered for the annual Galactic Peace Summit. Massive silver towers stretched toward the artificial sky. Shining banners of the Galactic Council waved from every corner. Ships of all shapes and sizes floated above the city, their lights blinking like stars. Soldiers stood guard, keeping watch over the most important event of the year. At the center of it all stood the Grand Council Hall, a giant glass dome that could hold over 10,000 beings. Inside, the air was filled with excitement. Leaders, ambassadors, and diplomats sat in their seats, waiting for the speeches to begin. The council's leader, High Chancellor Kavos, stood at the front. He raised his long, blue-skinned hand, calling for silence. His deep voice echoed through the hall. Today we gather as one. Together, we keep the galaxy safe and united. The crowd clapped politely. It was the same speech he gave every year. Nothing ever really changed until today. The lights shifted as Earth's ambassador, Mira Lane, walked to the center stage. She wore the dark uniform of the Unified Human Alliance, her face calm but cold. Many leaned forward in their seats, curious to hear what she would say. She began without emotion. By order of the Unified Human Alliance, Earth and all human colonies officially withdraw from the Galactic Council. Effective immediately, the hall fell silent. No one moved. No one spoke. It was as if the universe had stopped breathing. The silence broke like glass. Shouts filled the air. Leaders stood up, demanding answers. Some called it a joke. Others called it betrayal. The translators worked overtime, struggling to keep up with the waves of anger and fear. Mira Lane stood still, her face like stone. She spoke again, louder this time. All borders are closed. All trade is cut. All diplomatic channels are shut down. This decision is final. Earth will speak no further on this matter. The council guards moved in, but Mira raised her hand. My ship is already leaving. No one will stop us. And just like that, she turned and walked out. The cameras captured every second. The news spread across the stars within minutes. Earth was gone. High Chancellor Kavos stood frozen. His advisors rushed to him, whispering in panic. He raised his hand again, trying to calm the storm, but it was too late. The damage was done. Fear spread like wildfire. In a small dark room deep under the council hall, Alex Voss stood watching the broadcast on a hollow screen. He wore a plain gray uniform, his badge shining on his chest. He was a security officer trained to handle threats against the council. But this was bigger than any threat he had faced. The door behind him opened. A tall woman in black armor stepped inside. She was Commander Rhea, head of Council Internal Security. Alex, she said, you've just been assigned a new mission. Alex turned to face her, waiting for orders. Earth's actions have thrown the galaxy into panic, she continued. We need to know why. We need someone who can move quietly. Someone who knows how humans think. Alex nodded slowly. You want me to find out the real reason? She nodded back. Exactly. You leave in 6 hours. Alex glanced back at the screen. The image of Earth's ambassador was still frozen there, her words echoing in his mind. All borders are closed. This decision is final. Something wasn't right. He could feel it in his gut. Without another word, Alex left the room to prepare. He knew this mission could change everything. Alex stood on the observation deck of the Council Intelligence Tower, staring into the endless black of space. Beyond the glass, the ships of dozens of alien species moved in tight patterns. Patrols had doubled since Earth's sudden exit. The Council was afraid, though no one wanted to admit it. Behind him, the doors hissed open. Commander Rhea stepped in, holding a black data pad. She walked to his side without speaking for a moment. The silence was heavy, but Alex knew better than to rush her. Finally, she spoke. You're cleared for full access, Alex. This mission comes directly from High Chancellor Kavos himself. Alex didn't move. He kept his eyes on the stars. Why me? He asked quietly. Rhea sighed. Because you're human. Because you used to work with Earth's diplomatic team. You know their systems, their habits, their tricks. Alex turned to face her. And if I refuse? Rhea gave a small, bitter smile. Then someone else will do it. but they'll probably make things worse. You know how fragile this is." Alex nodded. He understood. If the wrong person pushed too hard, war could break out in days, maybe hours. Rhea handed him the datapad. "Your ship is ready. You'll head to Pylon 9, a human colony near the edge of Council space. It was abandoned 2 weeks ago. No one knows why." Alex tapped the screen, pulling up the mission details. Satellite images showed an empty colony. Buildings stood untouched, but every life sign had vanished. Power systems were offline. Council research stations were marked in red, decommissioned and erased from records. "Looks like they tried to cover their tracks," Alex muttered. Rhea nodded. "Find out what they're hiding. Talk to anyone still out there. Bring back the truth." Alex glanced up. "What happens if the truth is worse than we think?" Rhea's face hardened. "That's not your concern. Just bring it back." Alex clenched his jaw, but said nothing. He had heard those words before. They never brought anything good. Rhea turned to leave, but paused at the door. "Be careful, Alex. The Council isn't the only one watching." The door slid shut behind her. 6 hours later, Alex stood in the docking bay, staring at his ship. It was a small recon-class scout, built for speed and stealth. Its black hull reflected the lights of the station. On the side, the Council symbol was painted in silver, a circle of stars with a flame in the center. He climbed aboard and ran a systems check. Engines, weapons, shields, everything was ready. As the ship powered up, he opened a private channel to the Council's security network. A voice answered, cold and robotic. "Agent Voss, confirm mission." Alex spoke clearly. "Agent Voss, departing for Pylon 9. Mission, investigate Earth's withdrawal. Report findings directly to Commander Rhea." "Confirmed." "Good luck, Agent Voss." The channel closed. Alex leaned back in the pilot's seat, staring at the stars ahead. He didn't believe in luck. He set the course and fired the engines. The ship slipped away from Varnock 7, disappearing into the black. The journey to Pylon 9 took 4 hours through deep space channels. The closer Alex got, the quieter the sensors became. No signals, no chips, just empty space. Finally, the colony came into view. Pylon 9 floated like a ghost. Its towers stood tall, but no lights shone from the windows. The landing pads were empty. The Council's research stations were dark. Alex landed near the main tower. The doors opened with a soft hiss, and he stepped onto the cold platform. The air was thin but breathable. He moved slowly through the empty streets. Dust floated in the weak gravity. He passed homes, shops, and Council outposts. Everything looked untouched, like people had left in the middle of their lives. Something didn't feel right. Alex found the largest research station and forced the doors open. Inside, the walls were burned. Computers were smashed. Files were gone. But one thing remained. On the floor, written in black marker, were the words, "We know what you did." Alex felt a chill run through him. Someone had left in a hurry, but they wanted the Council to know why. He searched the room and found a single data chip hidden behind a broken panel. It had no markings, but it was still active. He pocketed it and turned back toward his ship. Suddenly, his scanner beeped. A ship was approaching fast. No ID, no signal. Alex ran. He reached the ship just as the unknown vessel dropped from warp. Black armor. No markings. Black Ops. Earth's secret forces. They had found him. Alex powered the engines, lifting off just as the enemy ship opened fire. Lasers shot past his ship, shaking the hull. He pushed the engines to full power, racing away from the colony. Alarms blared. Shields dropped. A warning flashed on his screen. Incoming missile. Alex pulled the ship into a hard spin. The missile missed by inches. His ship jumped back into warp space just in time. Breathing hard, Alex leaned back in his seat. Someone didn't want him finding the truth. But he had something now. He had a clue, and he wasn't going to stop. Alex dropped out of warp an hour later, far from any busy space routes. His ship's systems were stressed. The hull creaked. Warning lights flashed on the control panel. Shields were almost gone. Weapons offline. But he was alive. He locked the controls and leaned back, staring at the data chip he had pulled from the burned-out research station. It was small, smooth, and unmarked. A simple object, yet it had nearly gotten him killed. Alex slid it into the ship's data reader. A single file appeared on the screen. Echo 7. He tapped to open it. The screen flickered for a second, then displayed a list of transport logs. Cargo movements, ship IDs, secret routes between Earth's colonies and Council-controlled research labs. Alex leaned closer, scrolling through the records. The data stretched back 2 years. Dozens of human colonies. Dozens of shipments marked BIO test material. No descriptions, no details. Just dates and destinations. One name stood out, Colony D, 23. The last shipment on the list had gone there. Alex remembered the place. It was a small farming colony near Gortha's Belt, a quiet part of space rarely visited by outsiders. It wasn't far. Alex set the new course and fired up the engines. His ship groaned, but it held together. As the stars stretched into thin lines around him, Alex felt the weight of something bigger pressing on his mind. He wasn't chasing rumors anymore. He was following real evidence, and someone was willing to kill to hide it. For hours later, Alex reached Colony D, 23. It looked nothing like Pylon 9. No cities, no tall buildings, just small domes scattered across a dusty red surface. The farms were gone. The air was dry and still. Alex scanned for life signs. One signal, weak but alive, inside a collapsed building near the edge of the colony. Alex grabbed his sidearm, sealed his suit, and moved out. The ground cracked under his boots as he walked toward the ruins. Dust swirled in the air, making it hard to see. His scanner kept beeping softly, locking on the signal. He reached the building and found a narrow gap in the wall. Squeezing through, he entered a dark hallway lit by flickering lights. The air smelled of burned plastic and rust. "Hello," Alex called softly. No answer. He moved deeper until he reached a small chamber. There, sitting on the floor, was a woman. Her hair was dark, her face pale. She held a small pulse pistol, aimed right at him. "Don't move," she whispered, her voice shaking. Alex raised his hand slowly. "I'm not here to hurt you." The woman's eyes narrowed. "Who sent you? The Council or Earth?" Alex kept his voice calm. "Neither. My name is Alex Voss. I'm trying to find the truth." The woman stared at him for a long moment. Then her arm dropped. She looked exhausted, barely able to sit upright. "My name is Talia Reen," she whispered. "I used to work for Earth's diplomatic team, until I found out what they were hiding." Alex's heart raced. He stepped closer, keeping his hands raised. "What did you find?" he asked softly. Talia leaned back against the wall, closing her eyes for a moment. Then she spoke. 2 years ago, the Council started secret projects on human colonies. They told Earth it was medical research, ways to cure disease, extend life. But it was a lie. They were testing biological weapons, mind control agents, things that could take over entire populations. Alex felt the ground shift under him. Earth found out, Talia continued. At first, they tried to stop it quietly, but the Council threatened to expose Earth's part in the early tests. So Earth pulled out, locked down their borders, burned every record they could find. Alex showed her the data chip. "Why is this still here?" he asked. Talia let out a bitter laugh. "Because some people want the truth to come out, but no one listens. The Council controls the media. Earth controls the borders. And people like me, we're left here to die." Alex knelt beside her. "Come with me," he said quietly. "Help me stop this." Talia looked up at him, her eyes filled with fear and anger. "They'll kill us both." Alex nodded. "Maybe, but if we don't stop them, they'll control the entire galaxy." Talia looked down at her hands, then slowly nodded. Alex helped her to her feet. She leaned on him, weak but alive. They moved back to the ship together, watching the skies for any sign of pursuit. As they boarded, Alex knew there was no turning back now. He had someone who knew the full story, someone the Council and Earth would both want silenced. The engines roared to life as they left Colony D, 23 behind. Alex checked the star charts. Only one place left to go, Varnock 7. He had to confront Kavos face to face. Alex piloted the ship carefully, keeping its signature low. He knew someone had already tried to kill him on Pylon 9. They would try again. This time, he wasn't alone. Talia Reen sat in the seat beside him, pale and weak but alive. She hadn't spoken much since they left Colony D-23. She seemed lost in thought, staring out the small side window at the stars. Alex broke the silence. "We'll reach the outer systems in a few hours," he said quietly. "We'll be safer there. We'll make a plan." Talia didn't turn to face him. Her voice was soft, barely more than a whisper. "There's no safe place now, Alex." He glanced at her, but said nothing. She was right. No colony, no station, not even council space could be trusted. Both Earth and the council had gone too far. Anyone who knew the truth was a target. Alex leaned forward, checking the long-range scanners. Nothing. Clear space ahead. For a moment, it felt like they might actually make it. Then the alarm sounded. 2 ships appeared on the scanner. Small, fast, and unmarked. No signals. No ID. Black Ops again. Talia's face went pale. "They found us." Alex pushed the engines to full power. The ship jumped forward, shaking under the sudden speed. The enemy ships followed fast. They were closing in. "Talia, strap in," Alex shouted. She gripped the chair's sides as the ship dipped and rolled, dodging laser fire. Bright beams of energy shot past them, some striking the rear shields. Alarms blared louder. "We can't outrun them," Talia yelled. Alex didn't answer. He knew she was right. The scout ship wasn't built for combat. It was fast, but not fast enough to outrun trained killers. He scanned nearby space, searching for anything, a planet, an asteroid field, a debris cloud, anything that could hide them. There, a dense asteroid belt just a few clicks ahead. It was a long shot, but it was all they had. Alex turned the ship hard toward the belt. The enemy ships followed, closing the gap. They fired again. A blast hit the ship's rear engine. The ship shook violently. Sparks flew from the control panel. "Hold on," Alex shouted. They entered the asteroid field at full speed. Huge rocks spun in every direction. One wrong move, and they would be crushed. Alex weaved through the debris, narrowly dodging the massive stones. The enemy ships stayed close, firing blindly. Talia grabbed his arm. "There," she shouted, pointing to a dark crevice between 2 giant asteroids. Alex didn't hesitate. He turned sharply and flew straight into the gap. The enemy ships tried to follow, but they were too wide. One ship slammed into the asteroid wall, exploding in a bright flash. The second ship pulled back, waiting outside the belt. Alex took the moment to power down the engines and hide in the shadow of the rocks. Silence filled the ship. Both of them sat still, breathing hard. Alex checked the sensors. The remaining ship was still out there, waiting. "We're pinned," Alex muttered. Talia leaned back, closing her eyes. "This is how they do it," she whispered. "They hunt us down one by one. No one ever sees it happen." Alex knew she was telling the truth. He had seen the Council's methods before. Quiet, clean, no weaknesses. But not this time. Not with him. Not with her. He leaned toward the control panel and opened a secret channel. It was risky, but they needed help. He sent a coded signal to a contact from his old days working with Earth's diplomatic team, a rogue pilot named Jonas Creed, who operated in the outer systems. If anyone could get them out of this, it was Jonas. Alex waited, watching the sensors. Minutes passed. The enemy ship still waited outside the belt, blocking every exit. Fuel was running low. Options were almost gone. Then a light flashed on the panel. A reply. Jonas's voice crackled through the speaker. "Alex Voss, you're a hard man to track down." Alex felt a small wave of relief. "I am sending coordinates. We're pinned. Can you get us out?" Jonas chuckled softly. "Don't move. I'll be there in 5 minutes." Alex leaned back and looked at Talia. "Help is on the way." Talia didn't look convinced. "We don't even know if we can trust him." Alex nodded slowly. "I know, but right now he's all we've got." 5 long minutes passed like hours. The enemy ship stayed in position, still watching. Then from the far side of the asteroid field, a large freighter dropped out of warp. Its engines roared as it fired a burst of heavy cannon fire toward the enemy ship. Caught off guard, the enemy ship turned to face the new threat. Alex grabbed the controls. "This is our chance." He fired the engines, speeding out of the asteroid shadows. The ship rocked as debris scraped the hull. He flew straight toward the freighter. Jonas's voice came over the channel again. "Dock on my lower bay. Hurry." Alex pushed the engines to their limit. The enemy ship chased after them, but it was too slow to catch up. Alex's ship slid into the freighter's docking bay just as the doors sealed shut. They made it. Inside the freighter, Jonas stood waiting. He was older than Alex remembered, with gray streaks in his hair and a sharp look in his eyes. He wore a pilot's jacket with no markings. Alex and Talia stepped off the ship. Jonas crossed his arms and smiled. Well, looks like you've stirred up something big, Alex." Alex nodded grimly. "We need to get a Varnock 7. Now." Jonas raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Alex glanced at Talia, then back at Jonas. "To end this or die trying." The freighter engines roared to life as they jumped back into deep space. Alex knew the next move would be the hardest one of all, facing High Chancellor Kavos. The freighter rumbled through deep space, pushing toward Varnock 7 at top speed. Alex stood on the bridge with Jonas and Talia, staring at the star map. His mind was racing. The closer they got, the more dangerous this mission became. Jonas leaned against the control panel, arms crossed. "You do know Kavos runs that station like a fortress, right?" Jonas asked. Alex nodded. "I know. That's why we need a way inside without being noticed." Jonas frowned. "I might know a way, but it won't be easy." Alex turned to face him. "Go on." Jonas brought up a small diagram of Varnock 7's outer rings. He pointed to an old cargo tunnel marked in faded red. "This tunnel hasn't been used in years. Smugglers used to run cargo through it before Kavos tightened security. It leads straight into the lower command decks." Alex studied the map. It was risky, but it was the only way. He nodded. "Take us there." Jonas set the course. Talia stood quietly at the back of the bridge. She looked tired, but her eyes were sharp. "They'll kill us if they catch us," she said softly. Alex turned to her. "Then we don't get caught." Hours later, the freighter approached the outer edge of Varnock 7. The station looked like a floating city of glass and steel. Thousands of lights blinked along its surface. Massive defense cannons rotated slowly, scanning for threats. Jonas killed the engines, letting the ship drift silently toward the old tunnel. It was hidden beneath a large cargo bay, half buried in shadows. "This is as far as I go," Jonas said. "After this, you're on your own." Alex nodded. He reached out and shook Jonas's hand firmly. "Thanks for getting us this far." Jonas gave him a small smile. "Just try not to die." Alex grabbed his gear. Talia stood beside him, holding a small data drive in her hand. It held copies of all the evidence they had gathered. Together, they entered the old cargo tunnel. The tunnel was cold and dark. Dust floated in the stale air. Alex's boots echoed softly on the metal floor as they moved deeper. They passed old crates and broken equipment. The tunnel felt like it hadn't been touched in years. Finally, they reached a security hatch. It was locked, but Alex had seen these systems before. He connected a small hacking tool and watched the screen as the lock broke open with a soft click. They slipped inside. The lower command decks were busy with workers and guards. Alex and Talia moved carefully through the shadows, avoiding cameras and patrols. Talia whispered, "Kavos' office is 2 levels up, near the core." Alex nodded. "We'll need a distraction." Talia reached in her bag and pulled out a small signal jammer. She handed it to Alex. "This will block communications for 30 seconds. It's not much, but it's all I've got." Alex took it and checked his watch. They had to move fast. They climbed a maintenance ladder, slipping through another hatch. Above them, they saw the entrance to Kavos' private office, guarded by 2 soldiers in heavy armor. Alex and Talia hid behind a wall. Alex activated the jammer. The guards' comm unit sparked. They grabbed their helmets, confused. Alex moved fast. 2 quick shots from his stun weapon dropped the guards silently. He and Talia rushed into the office before the jammer died. High Chancellor Kavos stood by a large window, staring out at the stars. He didn't turn to face them. "I wondered when you would show up, Alex Voss," Kavos said calmly. Alex raised his weapon. "Turn around." Kavos turned slowly. His pale blue skin glowed softly under the office lights. His dark eyes showed no fear. You've come far, Kavos said. But you've wasted your time. Talia stepped forward. No, Chancellor. We have proof. We know about the experiments. We know about the mind control project. Kavos' face darkened. You think the galaxy wants to hear about that? You think they'll care? They'll thank me for keeping them safe. Alex took a step closer. You lied to everyone. You used human colonies like test labs. You threatened Earth to cover it up. And now, you're hunting anyone who knows. Kavos let out a cold laugh. Do you really think the Council will believe you? They're too afraid to lose power. They'll bury your evidence, just like they buried the bodies. Alex held up the data drive. Not this time. He tapped his wrist, sending the data to every secure channel on Varnock 7, including the public networks. Kavos' smile faded. Alarms began to sound outside. Shouts echoed in the halls. Alex kept his weapon raised. It's over, Kavos. Kavos stared at him, hate burning in his eyes. You've doomed the galaxy, Voss. You've started something you can't stop. Alex didn't flinch. I know, he said quietly. But the truth had to come out. The door behind them burst open. Guards rushed in, weapons raised. Alex and Talia raised their hands slowly. Kavos walked forward, standing between them and the guards. Stand down, Kavos ordered. Take them alive. Alex and Talia exchanged a quick look. They had done what they came to do. The universe now knew the truth. They surrendered without a fight. The door slammed shut behind Alex and Talia. Thick metal walls surrounded them. They had been locked in a small, windowless cell somewhere deep inside Varnock 7. Alex sat on the cold floor, leaning his head back against the wall. Talia sat across from him, her knees pulled up to her chest. Neither of them had spoken since they were captured. It had been hours. Alex didn't know if their message had reached the public. He didn't know if anyone had seen the data. But the alarms, the shouting, those had to mean something. He turned to Talia. We did the right thing. Talia looked up at him. She didn't answer at first. Then she let out a tired breath. I hope you're right. Before Alex could say more, the door unlocked with a loud buzz. It slid open, and High Chancellor Kavos stood in the doorway. He was alone, no guards this time. He motioned for them to follow. Come with me. Alex and Talia exchanged a glance. They stood and walked out without a word. Kavos led them down a long, quiet hallway. No alarms now. No shouting. The halls felt empty, like the station had gone silent again. Finally, they reached a private chamber with a wide glass window. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. Kavos turned to face them. You're causing more damage than you realize, Kavos said softly. Alex stood firm. People deserve to know the truth. Kavos shook his head slowly. You think this will bring peace? You've started a fire, one that will burn everything. Talia stepped forward. Her voice shook, but her words were sharp. You already lit that fire when you started using human lives for your tests. We only revealed it. Kavos sighed and walked to the window. He stared out in silence for a moment before speaking again. I did what I had to do to keep the Council in power. We needed control. Without it, the galaxy will collapse into chaos. Alex stepped closer. Control through lies, through fear, through murder. Kavos turned back to face them, his jaw tight. You don't understand the bigger picture. You never did. Peace is built on sacrifice, on control, on keeping the weak from tearing each other apart. Alex clenched his fists. You crossed the line. You used us like weapons. Earth had no choice but to walk away. Kavos narrowed his eyes. And now you've left the galaxy in panic. Do you think the Council will thank you for this? They'll hunt you. They'll erase every word you've sent. They'll rebuild their lies. Alex stood taller. Not this time. The people have the truth now. You can't hide it. Kavos looked between Alex and Talia. His face showed something Alex didn't expect, doubt. The Chancellor walked slowly to a control panel and pressed a button. A large screen lit up. It showed live broadcasts from across the galaxy. News channels, civilian feeds, alien worlds. People were marching in the streets. Protests had started on dozens of planets. Ships were refusing to follow Council orders. Some colonies had already declared independence. Alex stared at the screen, his chest tightening. The universe had heard. Kavos watched with cold eyes. You've broken the Council's hold, Kavos whispered. But the galaxy is spinning out of control. You've opened the gates, and now there's no going back. Alex knew the Chancellor was right. Chaos had started, but the lies were over. Talia spoke softly. People will fight for something better now. They deserve that chance. Kavos turned away, walking toward the door. You've made your choice. The council will fall or burn trying to hold on. He stopped at the doorway. You are free to leave this station. No one will stop you, but don't expect peace to follow. He left without another word. Alex and Talia stood in silence. The broadcast played on the screen behind them, planet after planet, voice after voice, rising up. The galaxy had changed. Nothing would ever be the same again. Alex let out a long breath. He turned to Talia. We started something we can't control. Talia nodded. But maybe that's the only way forward. They left the station quietly. No guard stopped them. No one even looked their way. It was as if the council had already lost its grip. They boarded a small transport ship waiting on the edge of the dock. Alex didn't know who sent it, but he didn't care. They had done what they came to do. As the ship lifted off, Alex looked back at Varnock, 7-1 last time. He knew this wasn't the end. What might come next? But at least the truth had been set free. The small transport ship drifted quietly through space. Inside, Alex Voss sat near the window, watching the stars pass by. Across from him, Talia Reen sat with her hands folded in her lap, staring at the floor. Neither of them had spoken for hours. The weight of what they had done pressed on them both. Alex leaned his head against the cold window. His mind was full of questions. What happened next? What would the council do? Would Earth step forward or remain silent? Would the galaxy survive what they had started? No one knew. All they could do now was wait. News broadcasts played on the ship's small display. Images of chaos filled the screen. Civilizations all across the galaxy had risen up. Protests on the outer colonies. Riots on council worlds. Ships blocking trade routes. Councils breaking apart. World after world was rejecting the old order. The Galactic Council's power was slipping through its fingers. Alex turned off the display. The noise was too much. He already knew what was happening. He had seen the fear in Kavos' eyes. The council was falling apart, just as Kavos had warned. Talia finally spoke, her voice barely more than a whisper. Do you think we did the right thing? Alex didn't answer right away. He thought about all the people who had died in silence before the truth had come out. He thought about Earth's silence. He thought about Kavos' cold words. Someone had to tell the truth, Alex said. It had to start somewhere. Talia nodded slowly. I just hope it doesn't end in more blood. The ship's pilot, an older man with a weathered face, entered the cabin. We're about to land, he said quietly. Alex stood and stretched his tired muscles. Where are we? The pilot smiled faintly. An old mining station in the outer belt. Off the grid. No patrols. No council eyes. Alex nodded in approval. Perfect. As the ship touched down, Alex and Talia gathered their few belongings. There wasn't much to carry. They had risked everything and walked away with nothing but their lives. They stepped off the ship into the cold, dim light of the mining station. The air smelled of metal and oil. Old ships sat in the hangars, half covered in dust. People moved quietly, their faces wary, their eyes watching every shadow. This place was free, for now. Alex turned to Talia. We lay low here for a while. Let the galaxy find its new path. Talia crossed her arms. And what about us? Alex looked out at the stars one more time. He knew their fight wasn't over. It had only begun. But for now, they had done what they came to do. They had torn down the wall of lies. They had set the truth free. The galaxy would never be the same again. Alex placed a hand on Talia's shoulder. We watch. We wait. And when the time comes, we stand again. Talia nodded, her eyes a little brighter than before. Together, they walked into the shadows of the station, leaving behind the ruins of the old galaxy. The universe was broken, but hope still burned in small places like this. And somewhere, far away, High Chancellor Kavos watched the fires spread across the stars. He knew his time was ending. But the game was not over. Not yet.